All right. Today we're going to do areas of quadrilaterals, part 2, because I'm going to do a little bit more composite shapes and challenge questions. So let's have a look. These are all the quadrilaterals we've done so far, the formulas. So parallelogram, trapezium, rhombus, kite, and also there are two more, okay? So one is a square, one is a rectangle. So we got 6. Just remember, I think only thing that you have to remember is there's two formulas you can use. One is base times height, for that it's not really related to triangle looks like. So if the shape looks like there's a triangles there, that we're going to use half times base times height. Base times height can be diagonals, or can be, the base might be more than one base, so two bases adding together. So they might be a little bit slightly different, but the whole idea is area equals base times height for some of the quadrilaterals. The other will be half times base times height. Now I put it as an example 6i there because this is something extra, okay, part 2 of the lesson. So we are still on the same exercise, but I'm going to do some harder questions. Okay, so find the area of each quadrilateral. Okay, so let me have a look. Part A here. Step 1. Okay, I'm going to actually use steps now. Step 1, I need to name the area 1 and area 2. Because these are the composite shapes, you will have more than one shape to deal with. So the one that outside the bigger shape, I'm going to call them area 1. And the one that is inside, smaller, I'm going to call it area 2. So that's a step 1. Step 1, name A1, A2. Step 2 is you have to think about which type, what kind of quadrilateral, what shape it is for A1, and then think about A2. So let's have a look at area 1. What kind of quadrilateral this one is? It's either parallelogram or rhombus, okay, because it's tilted. Now, rhombus has all 4 sides equal, but that doesn't really satisfy with this shape because it doesn't say that all 4 sides are equal. So this must be parallelogram, okay? So I'm going to write a parallelogram. Area 2, let's have a look at this little shape here, area 2. This one looks like square or rectangle, but this side is 2 here, and I don't know what this one is. So let's have a look. If this is a 2, that's definitely square. If this one is different to 2, then it's going to be rectangle. I'm going to have a look at the opposite side there. Its total length is 6. These need to be same length as this one because it's a parallelogram, which is two sets of sides are equal because they're tilted rectangle. Now, if that's 6 and this has to be 6, okay, the whole thing has to be 6. What's the middle part? So 2 plus 2 plus what will be 6? It'll be 2, okay? So I'm going to write this as a 2, okay? 2. So that means this one is definitely square because all 4 sides are equal. So I'm going to write a square. Okay, so I've done that and I need to think about the formula before going to the next step. This is the second step. So we decide which type that we have to deal with. And now we need to think about the formula. Okay, formula is here, parallelogram was base times height. Okay, and the square was also base times height. I'm just going to call this base times height. Now, what are my base for these two shapes? Base and height. Where is my base? Base is the one that it has on the outside. Okay, outside. So that's a 6. And my height is one that is perpendicular. Okay, perpendicular. So that is my base as well there. Okay, so in this case, that's my base, so which is the same as 6, and that's my height, 4. All right, so that's not too bad. Now with a square is easy because they're all, 4 sides equal, so base and height are the same. So I'm going to just put 2 and 2 there. Okay, so that was my second step. Third step, I'm going to now calculate the total area. Okay, so total area equals area 1. Always start with a bigger shape. Area 1, take away area 2. Why? It has a big holes in it. Okay, so it was base times height minus base times height. 6 times 4 for the area 1. The other one 2 times 2. Okay, square. So if I do that, 6 times 4 is 24. Take away 2 times 2 is 4. So 24 take away 4 is 20. 20 meter squared. Part B. Okay, let's have a look at part B. Can't see part B. Now, part B, I'm looking at it here, and I can see I think it's the same shape, doubled up, isn't it? But I'm still going to name them. So step 1, area 1, doesn't really matter which one is area 1 or area 2 for this case because they're both the same. Normally we'll call it area 1 as a bigger size, bigger shape is area 1, but this one look the same. Now I'm going to decide step 2 is all about which, like individually, what are they? What kind of shape A1, A2 is. They are tilted, okay? They're tilted and could be rhombus, could be parallelogram. Now, rhombus has to have all sides equal, but I can see they're not the same. So this must be, again, parallelogram. And they're both of them, A2 as well, parallelogram, isn't it? So both of them are the same. So what I'm going to do is area for parallelogram is base times height. Okay. Now, for the total area, instead of I'm going to add them, A1 plus A2, I'm going to double it. Double the one of the areas. You can do area 2 if you want to, but I'm going to do area 1. I'm going to double it because it is exactly the same. So 2 times, okay? Now, before I start, I need to know my base and a height for parallelogram here. So I have a base 10.4, or do you think 7 is my base? Which one? Because they're both 7 and 10.4 is outside of the parallelogram. So they both could be base. But only thing that it's going to decide that is base is we're looking at the height. Because base and height has to be perpendicular to each other. Now when we look at the 7 here, it doesn't have any line that it's going to be perpendicular to 7. So 7 is not our base. 10.4 is our base. And therefore 4.4 is our height. Okay, so be very careful about that. So 7 was there to confuse you. So let's have a look at the formula. Back to formula here. 2 times base times height. Base was 10.4 and the height is 4.4. Now put that in your calculator. When you do them all together, it'll be 91.52 centimeters square or square centimeters. Okay, let's have a look at the part C. Now, first step is always we name them. Which one is our A1 and which one is our A2. So I'm going to call the bigger one, always, bigger shape is A1 and the little shape is A2, which is inside. Okay, so that's really good. Now, let's have a look at individually. Area 1, area 2. We need to know what type of quadrilateral this one is. Now, A1, that looks like square or rectangle. And because it's not the same size, it has to be rectangle. And area 2, it's a tilted, so it could be rhombus or parallelogram. Now, it doesn't look like rhombus because it doesn't have a 4 sides equal. So it's going to be, again, parallelogram. Now we need to think about the formula for rectangle. It's base times height, okay? And also, parallelogram is base times height. So let's have a look at my base, my height for each case. Okay, now I'm looking at the area 1 here. What is my base? Base is one that outside on the bottom, just simple, 50. And my height is one that is coming perpendicular to my base, which is 25. Now, it doesn't really matter which one is your base or not because 25 can be your base because 50 is perpendicular to 25. So it doesn't really matter. Now, parallelogram. With parallelogram, it does matter with the base and height. So in here, only area 2, only measurement that is outside of shape is a 30. So that must be my base. And then there's one that inside is a 10, which is perpendicular to the 30. That must be my height. Okay, so that's okay. And then now, step 3, we're doing total area equals area 1 take away area 2 because it's got a big holes in it. Okay, if there's no holes in it, you're going to add them together. So base times height, I'm going to do 50 times 25. Take away area 2 is base times height, 30 times 10. 1,250 for this one, and that's 300. So when I put them together in your calculator, I will get 950 millimeters squared or square millimeters. First step was we name them. Second step, we find out which type of quadrilateral we're dealing with and the formula. Okay, there was 2 things we have to think about. And step 3, we find a total area. Okay, all right, so that was it. Look, part D. Okay, part D. So first step, same. Step 1, I'm going to call the outside bigger shape as area 1. And inside, that is area 2. Make this close up a bit so that we can see what type of quadrilateral this might be. I'm going to just write it like that. Okay, so I can see the area 1, area 2 clearly now. So let's have a look area 1. What kind of shape this one is? This one definitely is a square because all 4 sides are equal, so square. And area 2, I'm looking at this now. This one doesn't look like a square or rectangle because it's got this tilted side here. If I can just put it in a bit of better view, it looks like this. Okay, it looks like this. And that's like right there, like meeting perpendicular to each other. And I'm going to write it, the measurement there. And so this was a 15, that was 5, and that's 18.6. So if you can just put it, the shape in your view way, the front view, that would be really good. Now this one looks like a trapezium. Sure. Square is, what is it? Base times height. And the trapezium, because it looks like a part of a triangle, because if I sort of sketch it like that, it looks like a triangle, doesn't it? So I'm going to have to use half here. And then base. Base. Trapezium has 2 bases. Remember? So 2 bases, I'm going to put 15 plus 18.6 as my bases. And then my height is always in between 2 bases and it's perpendicular to each other. So I'm going to put 5 here. And step 3 here, I have to find total area. Now, total area will be big area, take away little area. Okay, so let's put all the measurements in there. The big area is 15 times 15, take away. So if I put that in a calculator, you will get 33.6. Okay, so instead of a half, I'm going to put 0.5, easier for me to calculate using calculator. So 33.6 times 5, and that will give me, that's 225. Take away, if I do all this, 0.5 times 33.6 times 5, I'll get 84. Okay, and that is 141. I don't have any units here, like normal basic units of centimeters or meters or millimeters. So I'm just going to write it units squared. But we can write it simply u squared. Okay, so 141 square units. All right, the last one, this is a hard one. Okay, why? Because I think it's because it's got a trapeziums, 2 trapeziums in it, and we need to put all the missing measurements in there. So I'm going to cut this. Okay, so which way I'm going to cut? It's going to be, so you can cut it like this if you want to, or you can cut it this way. Okay, it doesn't really matter which way you do it, but I'm going to cut it this way today. Okay, so I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to call this one is my area 1, and that's my area 2. A1 and A2 are trapezium. Area for trapezium was half times 2 bases, remember? The top base, the bottom base, and then height. I'm just going to write the formula there for the time being. Now what I need to do is I need to find all the measurement that I'm missing. Okay, for example, what will be this one? Okay, because area 1, I've got 4.5 there, I got 1.2 there, and I have 2 here, and I need to also know this one. Okay, so what will be the length for this part? Okay, this part. Now I know that 1.2 is same as 1.2 here. Okay, so therefore the whole thing, this is 2 plus 1.2, which is 3.2. So the measurement for the top bit is 3.2. Okay, that's not too bad. Now let's have a look at this one. How am I going to find that? I'm going to have a look at whole thing here. It's 4.5 because there was a little symbol says the whole thing is 4.5. Okay, so that was a 4.5 here, that was 4.5 here. And we know that this is 1.2, isn't it? This part, because that's what the 1.2 this one is. So it's here, measurement for this is 4.5 take away 1.2. That would be 3.3. Okay, so I think I've got everything I need. Now let's have a look. Now we can't double this to trapezium because they're not the same trapezium. So before we could, for some, if they are same, total area equals area 1 plus area 2. Now area 1 trapezium is this one. So I'm going to go half times base, 2 bases. Okay, this one is 2 plus 1.2, so it's a 3.2 plus 4.5. That's the bottom base times the height we got. That's here, perpendicular to each other, base, so 1.2. Okay, so that was my first. Now second one is half times, what's my base for the second one? Top base is the 2 plus the bottom base is 3.3. And then my height is this one, 1.2. Okay, so that wasn't too bad. 0.5 instead of half times. Now what's that? 3.2 plus 4.5 is 7.7 times 1.2 plus 0.5 times, I'm doing this right now, 2 plus 3.3. Just think of it as money. $2 plus $3.30. 5.5 times 1.2. Okay, put that in your calculator. This part, the first part A, you will get 4.62 plus 3.18. My total area is 7.8. Again, there's no unit as such. I'm going to go U squared, unit squared or square units. So that's all. Now, this was the hardest. Okay, well done, people.